Hey, what is going on, everybody out there? This is Jakejames Lugo. Welcome to the channel and welcome to this brand new JJ's One Man Podcast. And boy, do we have some stuff to talk about, because for real, there's a lot of things that have been happening within the world of video games, even though they're not exactly specifically focused just on games themselves. There's been a lot of crazy things going on that we have to have a conversation about, because I don't know whether it's because everybody's losing their minds as of lately or whatnot, but we're getting closer to the end of the year and people are starting to wild out. It's just absolutely wild just seeing stuff happen, and just the responses and everything else. It's been crazy. Okay, and all this is happening when we got good games to play. Like, what's the matter with everybody? Like, we got games to play right now. We got Spider-Man 2 that recently just came out. We got Super Mario Brothers Wonder. And I mean, come on, how come you guys are just not enjoying those games? You guys got to while out. But I digress, though. We're going to get into everything because we got some crazy stuff to talk about and a little bit of gaming stuff that's good to talk about. But before I get into all of that, let me make it clear also, thank you guys for supporting the channel. If you've been watching all the videos as of lately, if you've been listening to the podcast, if you've been sharing reactions and thoughts in the comments section or on social media, I really appreciate all of you. If you haven't already, please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel for more episodes of the podcast and other videos kind of like this one that I know you guys will really love, because again, there is so much stuff that is on the channel right now that I know you guys will get a kick out of. But let's get into some of the crazy things that have been happening this past week, because my God, man, I'm just over here. I wanted to go into the weekend, enjoy myself playing Spider-Man 2, have a cup of coffee, just relax, maybe some wine in the evening, and I was hoping nothing bad would happen this entire week, that I didn't have to discuss it on the podcast. I could have just splurged about how good Spider-Man 2 is, which we will at some point, and I'm probably going to do a video about Spider-Man 2 or focused on gameplay of Spider-Man 2 on the channel, probably in the next day or so, because I want to finish the main story in solitude. But let's talk about what's going on with YouTube right now, because this whole situation with YouTube and SSSniperwolf and or SSSniperwolf, I should say, and also Jack's Films, this whole situation is completely banged up, because my God, where do I even begin with this? So a lot of other places have summarized the bulk of what's been going on between these two YouTubers. They've had beef for quite a while. One YouTuber is making videos about the other, and the other one's responding and getting, upset about different stuff. The main gist of it from what I got is that SSSniperwolf has her large channel, which is over 35 million subscribers. She does reaction videos that are blatantly stealing content from creators, to the point that she doesn't even credit a lot of the creators in their videos that which she gets to make content off. And because of that, and because of the traffic it generates, and because of the views and engagement, YouTube constantly puts her out on the front page. Constantly. They even feature her in panels at various YouTube events, highlighting her as one of their top creators because of how big her channel is. So Jack's Films, on the other hand, again, just to quickly summarize, does reaction videos to her reactions and criticizes her, pointing out, yo, you should credit the people that you actually take videos from, and you should do better content overall, which is a fair criticism. Let's not sit out here and act like, look, we can't criticize people on YouTube, because that's totally fair game. So this whole situation has been boiling over back and forth until most recently, as of the time I'm recording this podcast, I want to say maybe about a week ago, or maybe a little bit just under a week ago, so not that long before. Jack's Films is minding his business with his family, streaming online, playing games and stuff, and SSSniperwolf basically doxes his house on her Instagram. It's about 5 million people on an IG story, and she posted multiple pictures, not only just of his house, but also kind of goading him to go outside of his home to confront her, or to have them to confront each other. And basically, this is just textbook doxing. You're not only revealing a person's home and showing where their residence is, but you're also doing it with malicious intent. Now, let's be real here, okay? Before I give my true opinion, this was all done totally with just ill intent. This wasn't done to talk. This wasn't done to have a conversation. This was done for the lulz, and this was done to look for something to be a problem so she could get engagement and get traffic and get reactions from everybody else and profit off of it, because she has a large Instagram following with 5 million people. That's the only reason why you would go do something like this. She had a shoot or some photo shoot that she was doing there in the area. She didn't have to do all this. And the response from Jack, understandably, was pretty pissed off, and then called for YouTube to take action on it, which, funny enough, YouTube has done nothing. As of this recording, they've posted up a few things, and we'll get into that in just a second, but they've essentially did nothing. There's clear 100% favoritism being shown here. So let me give my 2 cents on this whole debacle, because this is an open and shut case of one, clear favoritism, but also someone who is clearly just throwing their weight around, thinking that they're untouchable, thinking that they're going to get away with just about anything on the platform and nothing will happen to them. That is 100% what is going on here. When you look at all the reactions, all the responses, all the posts that people find relevant to all this stuff going on, that is 100% the issue. And what sucks about this is that YouTube is literally going to do nothing. Like straight up nothing. There is clearly, not only people have been pointing out in the YouTube terms of service of doxing being illegal or against TOS, but also there's clear examples of YouTube, or at least YouTube management and whoever runs YouTube, taking action against people who have done things on other platforms. And yet with SSSniperwolf, with this clear case of doxing being the case, they have done nothing. Their response, which I think is the most boneheaded thing you could possibly do in all this, that if you didn't want to piss people off, this is what they did. They posted a message in response to Jack's Films on Twitter, basically saying, look, confirming that Sniperwolf has received a temporary demonetization. Here, I'll read it for their exact phrase. Confirming SSSniperwolf has received a temporary monetization suspension per creative responsibility policies. Off-platform actions that put others' personal safety at risk harm our community, and that behavior on both sides isn't what we want on YouTube. Hoping everyone helps move this convo to a better place. So, where do I even begin with this statement? Other people have chimed in and basically pointed out the obvious. The obvious being that this is a terrible, terrible response, terrible course of action. Because at one point in this entire situation, especially when we look at the actual problem, which is the doxing, at what point is the behavior on both sides isn't what we want on YouTube? Like, there wasn't behavior on both sides that really was a problem. There was one side that did something that was clearly against your TOS and borderline illegal, and the other side is responding back to that. I'm not talking about, Jack Films like coming out and making a statement. Once his whole place was doxxed, he called on YouTube and pointed to YouTube and be like, yo, do something. Yo, take some action. Like, what are you doing? This person literally leaked out my place where I live. Like, what's going on here? And understandably so, after this statement was up for quite a bit, we have a community note on Twitter or X that talks about, or people have pointed out, that not only is harassment and doxing against the YouTube terms of service and cause for permanent termination per YouTube and Google, by the way, but they also pointed out too, which I didn't know until I saw this, that the only thing that got demonetized on SSSniperwolf's channel was one video. The rest of her channel is completely monetized. So essentially, YouTube or Team YouTube, per this account, lied to everybody, or at least wasn't telling the whole truth. That is insane to me. And what was even crazier was the whole response and the comments left by SSSniperwolf that totally show a lack of accountability and a total lack of care about this whole situation. Not only did she post up a picture the next day with, I believe it was her sister, saying that, we show up to your house, what are you doing next? Poking fun at the situation. But then she came out with this apology, which I'm not going to read the whole apology about it. But she basically just said, like, oh, she takes responsibility. She's doing all this stuff. She didn't mean to do things like this. Is like, well, none of that matters. Like, at all. Like, none of that matters whatsoever. The point is that what we have here is clearly an example of YouTube just showing clear favoritism, just straight up, and just not doing anything of what they have done consistently in the past to one of their larger creators. They are not holding her accountable fully for what she did and putting Jack's Films and his family in danger. That is a huge problem. That is, people have already said that multiple times in many videos reacting to all this, but once you take stuff from YouTube or internet beef into the real world, that's a problem, because not only does it show that one person clearly can't handle certain things with dealing on the internet or being an online personality, but also that could lead into something that's really bad for all parties involved. That's a huge problem. This is why YouTube and their answer, or this response that they gave to everybody, has so many people pissed off, because let's be real here. They put Sniperwolf on a platform and in the spotlight and in the forefront of a lot of people's YouTube pages. What I mean by that is the homepage of YouTube has the trending tab and the ones that YouTube puts in front of you first. Even if you don't have an account on YouTube, but even if you did, if you have a watch history, you still see Sniperwolf's videos like at the forefront, like literally right in front of you. So more than likely, if you're just joining YouTube for the first time, that's who you're going to see That's the channel and the content you're going to see, which is going to be her reaction videos. She doesn't even do gaming content like that, from what I saw. I'm pretty sure in the past she has, but this is what she's known for, is the reactions, which, again, a lot of people have pointed out are borderline stealing content, that are borderline using means in order to get popular very fast at the expense and at the well-being of other creators, which is totally taking monetization from their own videos that they made. So that in of itself is a whole problem that YouTube has never addressed for years about this, which is why she got so big. But this right here is probably the worst decision that YouTube has done. There's clearly an example of that. Someone that should be taken off the platform, should have their channel demonetized. I am 100% certain, and I could say this without any care of anybody else getting upset about this. Had a guy did this to someone like SSSniperwolf or somebody else, YouTube would have been like that, taking them out with their channel. They would have been immediately fast, just completely demonetizing them or deleting their channel flat out, straight up. Like there's no way to think otherwise. In the past, there have been other people who have gotten their channels taken away for far less than this. For what? Making a joke on another platform that YouTube had a problem with, or that somebody over it that works at YouTube had a problem with. And they've completely just suffered like the worst types of consequences you could get. But on this case, where clearly there's an example of this, they've done nothing. They've essentially done nothing. And I'm looking at some of the responses from some of these people. Like I see Player Essence, like, temporary, you got to be kidding me. What is it? He goes, there is no both sides. Without a permanent ban, you send a clear message that if you're upset with someone, you could dox them and get away near scot-free. Criticism of a channel is not the same as doxing someone. There is no both sides here, which is 100% true. I 100% agree with them that there's no both sides here. There's one side that did something, and YouTube is clearly just not showing the same level of like fairness and judgment that they would to other people. Another one saying here, Saberspark, the punishment doesn't match the literal crime. Stop playing favorites and being deliberately cryptic. Yeah, that's another thing that I think is a big problem with YouTube, and it's been going on for years. YouTube never likes to take a stance on something or send a clear message that isn't like layered or like, with hidden cryptic, like, agenda or motivation or whatever else. They're never just straight up with their audience. They're never straight up with the users on the platform. They never give a clear message at times. And maybe this could be due for legal reasons. Maybe this could be due to set expectations. But in a case like this, where it's so blatantly obvious what's up and what the problem is, that them being like that is the worst decision they could have done. And again, just scrolling through some more of these, like, there's just the reaction from everybody else is just understandably pissed off. How long is it suspended for? I low-key want to stalk people. Oh my God. Some people like leaving these crazy messages, like poking fun at it and stuff, which is true. Like, I can't blame people for clowning on YouTube or being pissed off on YouTube. Like, here's another one. I won't pretend to be a judge and jury here, but given your history of applying policies to other creators for allegedly breaking these same rules, this still looks like an unapologetic and unfair favoritism. With this type of response, you guys simply are not fooling anyone, which is true. They are simply just straight up just not being even across the board. They're not being fair. This whole situation, if it wasn't for SSSniperwolf's channel being so in the forefront with so many subscribers, and them, because recently, not too long ago, she was just on a panel for YouTube, for their YouTube creators event, that she had like this whole thing where she was talking on there saying that she's like one of the people that are helping drive the platform. Had it not been for something like that, she would have lost her channel a long time ago. I don't know whether it's because YouTube doesn't want to be that way towards a female creator, or they don't want to lose one of their top creators with so many subscribers, but that is something that people have just straight up noticed and are like, whoa, what the hell? Here's another one from Jacksepticeye. Wait, both sides? Criticism and parody are not the same as doxing. Yeah, 100%. Real talk. And I don't think anybody's going to let this go away. I hope not. In any case, I hope people keep talking about this. And I'm still scrolling through some of these other responses, and they just keep going on and on and on. So I won't like harp on it, but I really do hope that everybody takes YouTube to task with this, because there's just straight up, there's no way around it. Like there's absolutely zero way around it where people are saying like, yo, this is fair and honest. This is not fair or honest. This is really messed up. This is super, super messed up and sets a very bad precedence for it. Like it's really messed up. Like I'm looking at Jack Films' other post about it that were around the same time. He put it pretty plainly. She literally posted a video of the outside of our house for all of her 5.6 million followers to see, then deleted it. Which that 5.6 million followers, that's a lot of people. Even if it was up there for a short time, that's a lot of people just to see your place of residence, your home. In what universe do you think that's okay? And what reality do you live in where you think this behavior is justified? It's time to get her off the platform. She's no longer a silly creator that steals content, tee-hee. She's a creep that stalks and threatens her critics. Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I think there's a literal case to make for that. And what I don't understand, and one thing I'm a little confused about, is there precedent to actually, sue someone who does something like this to you? Like, is there a legal case one can make? Like, can Jax Films go and actually sue her for doing something like this, and possibly in the process sue YouTube for allowing it and doing nothing about it? I think there's got to be some sort of case. Like, if he's not talking to some legal people or some lawyers about this, he really should. Because I would ask those questions. Because when it's so blatant like this, and you could clearly see and pick out all these different examples of stuff, I'm not talking about any of the other things that people have brought up. That's a whole other conversation with other stuff related to SSSniperwolf. But about this particular situation in of itself, is there a reason or a legit case that someone can build to sue someone in court and win? Like, I think that's a legit question. And I feel like if they haven't already asked that, or Jax Films or anybody else hasn't already asked about that, they definitely should. Because I think that this type of thing shouldn't go unpunished. This type of thing shouldn't go left unattended, because it's just that bad. It's that bad, and you're going to see other people, for whatever reason, do similar things as copycats that are really going to set a bad precedent. And it'll be entirely not just SSSniperwolf's fault, but it'll be also YouTube's fault for setting the clear message of being like, yo, we clearly just look at things differently for different people. And it sucks. I feel bad for Jax Films, but I feel bad for everybody else that has to look at this and feel like, damn, YouTube really doesn't support their creators. They support and help and stand behind a few select people, but not their creators as a whole, which is a darn shame. Take a sip of this coffee, and let's talk about some other stuff, right? So that's one thing. That was the biggest news story in relation to like gaming content creators, or just content creators in general, which was a bad look. Okay, so that's one big story. But before we get to the other crazy story that I want to dive into, let's talk a little bit about some good stuff. Kind of make this a nice meaty sandwich of good stuff. Let's talk about Spider-Man 2, because yeah, man, Spider-Man 2 has been dope. I've been playing since I got the game and unlocked it at 12 midnight that day. And I've just been playing nonstop. Like, I'm close. I'm pretty sure I'm very close to the end of the story. I'm getting close to the point where I've already done a lot of big things in the plot, which I won't spoil here, but I've been playing a lot, swinging through New York City, gliding with the new glider, little wings that you get on both Peter and Miles. I think that's pretty darn cool, just like zipping through New York City, doing all the missions, doing all the crimes that you could find, and discovering all the little Easter eggs and stuff. Very, very cool game, man. If you own a PlayStation 5, you need to own Spider-Man 2, because this is one of those must-own games and experiences that are going to be a highlight for the platform. I felt the same way with the original Spider-Man from Insomniac over on the PlayStation 4, and getting the Game of the Year edition was the best decision I could have gotten, because I played that and played all the DLC and got the Platinum Trophy in it, and it was so much fun. And I feel like at some point I'm going to do the same thing with Spider-Man 2, because there's a lot in here. The city is big. You got a couple boroughs to kind of, swing through between Manhattan, Queens, and a few other spots. Which is awesome. And having lived in New York for many years and having been to some of these places, it hits me on a different level, because, again, someone who is Puerto Rican, who is Spanish, that grew up in New York, you see some of these locations that are related to that part of the culture, and it's really cool, man. It's really, really awesome. Probably my favorite thing about Spider-Man 2, if I have to be honest, is the fact that not only is it so easy and seamless to go from location to location, especially with fast travel, they kind of changed up a little bit with the fast travel, where you have to actually do enough activities within a certain area to unlock fast travel. And once you do that, you could just go to your map and click on a specific spot near one of your objectives and fast travel there, and there's no loading, in this whole entire game in the city. And that feels so good. Like, I know a lot of people love those little scenes where it's just Peter or Miles. They're in like the train that they're actually listening to music. And that's a whole vibe. I'm going to be honest with you, I love those, but there's just something different that hits when you have no loading and you're going from one spot of the city all the way to the other side of the city, and it's seamless. It feels so good. Like, they do this thing where you go into the actual map, you click the spot there you want to fast travel to, right? You hit the execution button and it goes in, it just kind of goes right from the top into the city, and Peter or Miles is already either gliding or swinging into there. It just is so smooth, and it looks and feels so darn good, man. This game is awesome. And of course, I will say the story is pretty dope, again, without spoiling it. The combat feels nice. It's very similar, if not the exact same as the previous game, the Miles Morales specifically. There's not really much to fix with it. They give you more abilities. They give you more different types of attacks and different types of things you can do while in combat that you eventually have to unlock with skill points and stuff. But it just feels darn good. It was great before, and it's still great now. It feels a little bit better as far as maybe a few things tweaked here and there that are specific. But overall, it just feels nice to play this game, man. It just feels so darn good. Definitely a Game of the Year contender in my personal opinion. Do I think he'll win Game of the Year at the Game Awards? I don't think so. I still think that a lot of people, especially in the media for various outlets and websites that are going to be voting on Game of the Year for the Game Awards, are probably going to choose Baldur's Gate 3 as their Game of the Year, more than likely. Even though I definitely feel this game makes a strong case for being one of the best experiences this year. Hands down. It's just so good to get into. It's so easy to control. It feels so great to just zip through the city. And then when you got the music blaring, during some of the crazier moments or some of the big moments that are set pieces, it's an awesome time. This is definitely a must-own on PlayStation 5. If you haven't already done so, go pick up Spider-Man 2 and play it for yourself and see exactly what's up, because it's that good, guys. It's that awesome. And again, I can't wait to finish the story. I'm going to go back and do all the other activities, get all the costumes and all the suits. And I'm really enjoying it. One other thing I should say, though, I am writing about it over on .esports. I actually had about 3 to 4 different articles go up from me that are guides and other like little articles related to Spider-Man 2 that are live now on .esports. So if you want to check out some stuff that's written content related to Spider-Man 2, definitely go check those out. It shows you how to do certain things in the game, including how do you get a selfie in Spider-Man 2, how to unlock some of the suits, and a few other things that you'll definitely want to know, especially if you're starting out with the game. So check that out. Show some love. I shared them on my Twitter page, so they should be easily there to find them. As well as also, again, just play the game, man. This game is good. This game is really, really good. Now, let me take a sip of this coffee, and then we're going to talk about the other bullshit, because, oh my God, this other story is crazy, right? Let's talk about this thing with Easy Allies. Now, I do have to put a disclaimer at the front of this, right? And I normally don't put disclaimers because you know that when I want to speak on something, I'm just going to go in. But I'm trying to be a little bit fair, and I'm trying to show a little bit of class here, which was what this whole story is about. It's about class. It's about respect. It's about dignity, courtesy. So here's what happened, right? Easy Allies, they have a bunch of their shows, including Frame Trap. They have a Friend Code, which I've been on Friend Code a number of times with my boy Michael Damiani. Okay, or Mike Damiani, he's dope. We talk Nintendo stuff. I've been on there with a couple different people. And, I enjoy the shows from Easy Allies whenever they get posted up and I get to check them out. I'm not subscribed to their Patreon, but I definitely check out their channel every once in a while. But that might be coming to a close because check this out. So, Dustin Furman, okay, from Last Stand Media. He's the EP, the executive producer and co-host of Sacred Symbols, Punching Up, and a few other spots of content that they do over on Last Stand Media. He works with Colin Moriarty. You guys know I've been a fan of Colin Moriarty for a very long time. I look at him as one of the mentors that I followed over the years when it comes to gaming media, when it comes to being critical about games and stuff. So I have a kind of a history and some sort of in-person relationship with some of these people that I know them. I don't know them super personally, but I've either met them or I've talked with them that I've actually found, right? And with the exception of maybe Dustin, because me and Dustin have only lightly talked to each other. We haven't had a chance to really have a conversation about games or anything, but hopefully sometime soon that we'll get to chat, hopefully about Star Wars. That'd be dope. But either way, Easy Allies had Dustin on Frame Trap. He was with Brandon Jones. And they were talking about a bunch of different stuff. They're good friends. They've been good friends for a long time. And he just decided to bring them on just to talk about some stuff, which is fine. Apparently, I never got a chance to check out the episode, but they had a great conversation. A lot of people seemed to dig it, but there was a section of people who didn't. And apparently, I'm reading over an image of the message that was shared online within their Discord, and also shared around on places like Reddit or Reset Era. And they basically had to make a apology, or they didn't have to, but they made this apology for having Dustin on their show and then being on there and just talking games with Brad. And it's like, here, I'm going to read you guys the statement. You tell me how you guys feel about this. So after Dustin was on their show, there's a post that goes up from Gabby, who is Gabrielle I think it's, how you pronounce it? Gabrielle Montote? Or Gabrielle. She's the community manager of Easy Allies. She helps do a lot of their community management stuff. She goes, "Hi guys, just wanted to quickly address the latest episode of Frame Trap. To first explain our thought process, Brad and Dustin are friends and Dustin is a fan of ours, so Brad wanted to have him on Frame Trap. We unfortunately did not think it through beyond that, and that is entirely our fault. Please understand, Brad has known and trusted Dustin for many years, but we hear your concerns and we will take more time to discuss and vet new guests before bringing them on. We sincerely apologize for any and all this drama has caused. Thank you so much for understanding, and please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or comments." So that statement goes out, and a lot of people see this and they share it, not only with Dustin and Colin, but with everybody else, outside of their Discord. And I'm going to be honest with you, that is some bullshit. Straight up. That is some bullshit. So I haven't listened to the full episode, but I did hear some of the comments and I did see some of the postings about it. And Dustin really didn't do anything to warrant that. He didn't say anything like crazy, controversial. He wasn't getting at anybody. They were talking just games and stuff that they love. Him and Brad are good friends. I've been on stuff with Brad, I believe. No, actually, no, he wasn't on Friend Code, but I know me and him follow each other and we talk, and I see some of the stuff that he posts up and sometimes I try to respond, but Brad doesn't seem like a bad dude. Dustin definitely doesn't seem like a bad dude. So why is it that people are wiling out and Easy Allies, their community manager, felt the need to come and make this statement on their Discord? I'll tell you exactly why, and it's really messed up. They did this because everybody doesn't like Colin Moriarty. They don't like Last Stand Media, and because Dustin does content with Colin on Last Stand Media, that's why they made a big deal about it. Because they didn't want any sort of association with Last Stand Media or Colin Moriarty. Let's break this down, right? And let's be real about something. Dustin is his own person. Dustin hasn't done anything to anybody. Dustin didn't go out of his way to hurt anybody, to say anything bad, to be a jerk to anybody. He's had his opinions and he's had a couple, conversations that might be looked at as controversial, but he hasn't done anything to anybody else. So any sort of association that he has with Colin Moriarty, he shouldn't be judged in like a really messed up way and criticize and scrutinize and have the company come and apologize for having him on one of their shows. Like, what is that? Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think Dustin deserved that. I don't think Dustin warranted to have that type of thing happen. This whole controversy, it seems like it stems from a couple people and probably a couple people in Easy Allies, because one thing I did listen to, which brought it to my attention, I did listen to the Sacred Symbols episode where Dustin talked about it because he finally addressed it after people kept asking him, like, what's going on? And one of the things that he said was that over there, he feels like there's a bunch of people that are divided over something like this. And I really think it's because they have a personal problem with Colin Moriarty. This wasn't a professional decision. This wasn't a decision or a thing that was done based on anything objectively bad that Dustin did. Like, him being on their shows just because he works with Last Stand Media shouldn't be cause for anybody to flip out, because he's doing something on their content, talking about stuff. Objectively, there is nothing to complain about. So this all goes down to subjective nonsense, to BS personal feelings that some people have about Colin Moriarty that is spilling over to Dustin. And that's not fair. That's not right. Like, again, I have nothing but a good experience with Easy Allies. I've been on their shows with Friend Code a couple times. I wanted to do more, and we just couldn't figure it out. We just couldn't match it up. But they're not bad people. But this was a boneheaded decision to do. This was a boneheaded thing to get involved with, as far as trying to say, hey, we're sorry, we apologize for having this person on here, and like, we'll vet more people and stuff. It's like, what is there to vet? Like, one of your people knows this guy for years. They had a great conversation. Nothing bad happens. So what's the problem? Like, what's the issue? And I'm looking at some of these responses on Twitter, and I saw a couple of them in other different places, and people are seeing that. And it's not just Last Stand Media fans. It's not just fans of Sacred Symbols or fans of Dustin that are saying this. There's a lot of other people that are saying this. Even some of the fans of Easy Allies that are just bringing this up and talking about it. It's like, like, why does Dustin have to catch heat for doing nothing, for just being around? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. That doesn't make any sense for anybody to catch something like that. Like, it's one thing to have a problem with somebody. I get that. We all are never going to get along with some of the people that are around us. We're never all going to be friends. That's just the way it is. That's how life is. But to start putting those same vibes on another person that has nothing to do with your beef or your personal issue with one person, that's not fair. Like, even if some of the people that are over there at Easy Allies, like, because I know that Colin has talked about, and he even talked about on the podcast, I believe is what happened with Brad Jones. Not Brandon, not Brad Jones, I'm sorry. One of the other founders, again, I can't remember his name, of Easy Allies, one of the big main people that I don't think is there anymore, but he ended up going on Colin's show, did this stuff, and then the next day or so started bad-mouthing him and trying to apologize to the Easy Allies audience for being involved with him. And he's like, yo, what the hell is that? Like, what type of nonsense is that? You know, it's one thing that, you know, certain people have their issues and stuff, but like, come on, like that seems so childish and so ridiculous. And this is also in the same time with Dustin, you know, the way they're treating him seems childish and ridiculous. Like, if there was ever an issue with Dustin being on one of their podcasts or their shows, it honestly should have been a conversation beforehand, before they made the content. Not have this whole like apology energy, you know, afterwards, where certain people in the audience get mad or have a problem with certain issues, which, by the way, seem to be very off base. Because I saw some of the criticisms and some of the things that are constantly brought up, and a lot of that is baseless. A lot of that is completely just nonsense that has been passed around from various different people over the years for different things that are just completely not true or completely just wrong and based on hyperbole. You know, it's absolutely crazy. Like, how are you going to have that type of stuff, okay, and apply it to someone like Dustin, who never did any of the things that have been brought up in the past, let alone has it did anything in the podcast that's right here. Again, I'm going in a little bit of circles, but it's just so ridiculous. Like, this was not the move, Easy Allies. This was a terrible, terrible decision, and one that is super disrespectful. Like, I know the guys talked about it on their show that it's like hyper disrespectful, but it really is. Like, we really have to emphasize that, because Dustin, and I think more credit to Dustin for handling it with a little bit of class, but I'm pretty sure he's pretty pissed off, because it's like he didn't do anything. He didn't say anything bad, and I'm pretty sure he had a conversation. I think he said he talked with Brad afterwards, right? And he talked to a couple other people over there at Easy Allies, and he, for whatever reason, they've been going back and forth trying to figure out how to make this right. And one of the things that Dustin said that he came out and said was that he's no longer welcome over there on any of their shows, which I don't understand why that's the case. You know, other than the personal problems of a few people that work at Easy Allies. Like, how is that fair? How is that right? Like, do whatever you want with your content. That's fine. You know, you can make whatever decisions you feel you need to make with your business. But in order to come out and make a statement like that, you're almost implying that the person's like a bad person. Like, he's a bad individual. Like, Dustin's like a terrible person for being on the show. It's like, I don't like that. I don't think that's fair. And everything that I've seen is totally not that, like, from Dustin. Like, he really didn't deserve this type of nonsense just for being on a podcast. And if they have a personal issue with Last Name Media, they need to settle it themselves in a different way, because getting other people involved or getting other people, like, you know, hitting splash damage with this type of stuff is not right, and it's not fair. And I feel bad. I feel bad for Dustin, and I feel bad for a lot of other people that are fans of Easy Allies seeing this play out in real time, because there was just absolutely no reason for it. There was absolutely no reason for it. Like, they're taking the type of stance or the type of approach. Like, you know, if I'm a fan of some other creator that I've interacted with in the past, and because of that, I can't be on this other creator's show because they don't like them. It's like, how stupid in high school is that? Like, how ridiculous is that? You know, it'd be one thing if I said something or did something horrible, then yeah, I get it. And then if you want to associate the two, that's fine, even though it's kind of ridiculous. But just this whole, like, you can't be friends with that person because I don't like them is so kiddie. It's so stupid. So dumb. Like, we're all here making content about video games. We're making content about entertainment, pop culture, and stuff. And we're going to still be stuck up on, like, little kiddie nonsense. And from, honestly, I feel like those conversations they probably had behind the scenes after all this blew up and stuff probably weren't the best at all. So I'm pretty sure Dustin had to deal with all that nonsense and probably take a much more rational stance on this and just completely just shut out. That sucks. Real talk. And personally, for me, as a fan of, like, all these different creators and all these different channels, I'm not going to watch Easy Allies content after that. I don't think that's right. And again, I support them and I like being on their shows and I like talking with some of those people, but let's call a spade and let's be fair about this. Let's be honest. I can't begrudge anybody else feeling the same way that I do. Like, why would I watch another video from Easy Allies after seeing them do something like that for someone who didn't do anything wrong, who's objectively didn't do anything wrong to them? And they're just going to you know, do that to the person, make that person feel bad or portray them like they're a bad person, like they did something horrible, to feel the need to apologize to their audience. You know, I don't know how you deal with that. I don't know how you adjust that or you try to make it right, but that puts off someone like me and puts off a lot of other people from continuing to watch their content, because it's just not, it's objectively not right. There's probably a much better way to handle this, probably not handling it at all, because it shouldn't have never been an issue to begin with. But I don't know, man. All that stuff just sounds so messed up. And I would be feeling a type of way. I would be exactly feeling like how Dustin feels, feeling a type of way if something like that happened to me. So anyway, that's all the stuff I got for you this week. It's a lot. I know it's a lot of craziness overall, but let me know your thoughts about everything that we've discussed in the comment section down below. I'm hoping next time I do one of these episodes, I have much more gaming or movie stuff to talk about. Like, there wasn't a lot of movie stuff that went down. I went to go see Killers of the Flower Moon, and I actually talked about it on TikTok, and I really don't have much to say about it other than what I said in that TikTok video, which you could go find right now on my page. It's just a full review of my thoughts on the movie. But beyond that, there's not really much movie-wise that's happening, at least until next month, where next month we're going to be able to see the Marvels from Marvel Comics or Marvel Studios. And when that movie drops, I'm probably going to have a lot of opinions about it, because that movie is not looking good. That movie looks like it's going to have a bad time in the box office for a number of reasons, and not all because of the movie itself. But I digress. I'm going to see it hopefully in IMAX when the movie comes out. And yeah, as far as anything else is concerned, not really much else going on with movies other than news, other than nonsense that has nothing to do with any of the stuff we cover. But still, let me know your thoughts about everything on all the topics I spoke on in this episode in the comment section down below. Of course, as always, make sure you hit that like button down below as well, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Show some love, show some support. Also, I have to say too, I should mention because I forgot about it earlier, they've already finished the nominations for the Game Awards Future Class. Thank you to everybody who nominated me, or that decided to nominate me after I asked them to do so, because I was trying to get a little bit of support from everybody to hopefully get included on the Game Awards Future Class this year. I've been trying to get on there for the last couple of years and haven't been able to do so, but fingers crossed with any of the nominations this year, hopefully I get included into the class, and that would be pretty dope. But I wanted to extend a thank you to everybody that showed love and support for that. So I really appreciate y'all. It means the world. If I end up getting included in the future class this year, I would be really ecstatic, and it would mean the world to me. And again, it'd be all thanks to all of you showing some love and support. But either way, we'll talk more about gaming stuff next time. I'm going to go back and play some more Spider-Man 2 because I want to finish that main story, and I just want to swing around New York. Like, give me some Metro Boomin. Let me get some like music from Metro Boomin from Beyond the Spider-Verse, and let me just ride. Let me just swing through New York City and just have a ball with it. Let me hit that vibe with it, okay? Anyway, I will talk to all of you guys again very soon. Peace out, and stay epic, everybody.